Hello and welcome. Today I'm adding P-47 the Phantom Fighter from the Jaleco Arcade Collection 1 to my ever-growing list where I rank every Evercade game ever. Released into arcades in 1988 by Jaleco and developed by NMK, P-47 the Phantom Fighter is a World War II themed horizontally scrolling shoot 'em up where you control a P-47 Thunderbolt, flying your way through Nazi-occupied territories, blasting aircraft, tanks, ships and bases across multiple stages. And I think that pretty much covers the extent of the story as well as the setup of the game. And it's one that I was passingly familiar with before getting this collection on the Evercade. I can't remember where I played it or what form. I'm pretty sure it was a home port or something, but it's not one I ever paid all that much attention to. Anyway, let's get into breaking this down by section, starting with, as usual,
the graphics.
Visually, for a 1988 horizontally scrolling shoot 'em up, it's not exactly flashy. Everything looks the part. The military vehicles of various kinds are well rendered, and I say they look the part. But bear in mind this was within a year or so of the release of R-Type, and it just hasn't got the visual flair of that. Now part of it is the theme. World War II doesn't lend itself to flashy visuals as well as a sci-fi shoot 'em up with loads of lasers. But the backgrounds, well, they're pretty enough, but they're also very static. There's not much going on in the background at all. Yeah, there's a bit of parallax and things, and some of the levels look quite nice where you're flying against a sunset. But overall the game isn't really that impressive looking. It's technically sound, it's decent enough, but just doesn't really stand out in any particular way.
Sound and music.
The sound effects are a mixed bag. On one hand, they sound quite meaty and satisfying. Well, some of them do. Some explosions are quite impressive. Others just sound a bit weak in comparison. And overall, it's the sound effects, they are okay. The music is not what you'd expect from a World War II themed shoot 'em up. It avoids any green warlike themes, and it has music which sounds like it would have suited Outrun better, or maybe Mario Kart. It's quite upbeat but chill at the same time, and really doesn't do anything to enhance the gameplay. In fact, I would say it works against it in some ways.
Gameplay.
P-47 the Phantom Fighter is a horizontally scrolling shoot 'em up where you shoot oncoming planes and things. You've got a standard fire which pretty much doesn't change. It's just bullets going straight through. There's nothing flashy, no multi-directional shots or anything like that. You also get a secondary fire. These can be bombs, missiles and various other things. They have slightly varying effects and can be handy at certain stages depending on what sort of enemies and encounters you have ahead of you. And usually you'll get provided with the correct one for that stage if you happen to pick it up. Gives a very, I suppose, kind of a scramble-like feel to it, and it makes sense given the World War II theme. It's a 1 or 2 player game and you can play through the whole thing in 2 players, although I've never tried that. As far as the shooting action goes, it's quite responsive. The hitbox and hit detection is generally okay, although the narrow profile of many of the planes and things don't make them the easiest things to hit. Sometimes realism can work against games, and I think this is a prime example. And coming back to the music being sort of chill and upbeat and not really feeling like it suits the game, it just doesn't get the blood pumping, and neither does the gameplay, or maybe it's a combination of the two. The game has, I believe, 8 stages, and they all largely play out the same, but naturally get more difficult. And once you finish all 8 stages, it just loops. There's no ending, so you can just keep going endlessly, and you might not even notice that it's looped because the levels just feel very samey. Although they change here and there, you've got these sunset style stages which look quite nice. You're either flying over ground attacking targets, or you're just flying through the sky, and that's the only changes you see. Yes, you'll get a boss here and there, well, for each stage, and these can be beaten, or rather you can run out of time before you beat them if you're not inflicting enough damage, but even if you don't defeat them in the time limit, you'll still beat the stage.
Overall opinion.
I think I would say that P-47 the Phantom Fighter is a mediocre shoot 'em up. While it's technically proficient, the lack of excitement and these few little niggles just make it a chore to play. Oh, maybe chore is the wrong word, but it does become quite tedious and you'll find your attention wavering, or at least I did, and yeah, I just found it quite boring really. To me, if a shoot 'em up is boring, well, that's the kiss of death.
Ranking.
So placing P-47 the Phantom Fighter on my overall list where I rank every Evercade game ever, I've elected to put it above All Body Binder's Tale, but below City Hunter and the Shrines of Peril, placing it at 326. out of 471 games that I've ranked so far. And I think that's a wrap for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.